Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to write a fraction in simplest form, or we can also say we're going to reduce a fraction. Imagine that you have 4 over 6. Now reducing means that you want to find a number that you can divide 4 by and 6 as well by the same number. You can evenly divide it by that number. Now if you don't remember some of the rules about divisibility, make sure you go to section 1.7. Now in 1.7 you will realize that when the numbers are even, you can evenly divide it by 2 when the numbers are even. In this case, 4 is an even number and 6 is an even number. Now 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now the question is when to stop. You stop when you cannot find any number that can divide these two numbers evenly. For example, let's say that you try to divide 2 by 2. Since 2 divided by 2 evenly, that means 2 goes into 2 once. But here's the problem. You cannot divide this number as well by 2. And also remember that the numbers has to be exactly the same. Does 3 can be divided by 2 evenly, or does 2 goes into 3 evenly? No, we know that it's not true. So in this case, for this problem, you would stop right there, because there's no number I can think of that can divide 2 evenly and 3 evenly as well. There's no number I can think of. So the final answer will be 2/3. Let's look at another example. Let's say that you have 15 over 40. Now again in section 1.7, you would realize about the divisibility rule that this number, we can divide it by 5. The reason why is because it ends with a 5, and this number as well, we can divide it by 5. So again, make sure that guys, these two numbers have to be exactly the same. You need to divide the top number by the same number that you're dividing the bottom number. So 15 divided by 5 gives you 3. 40 divided by 5 gives you 8. Now, is there any number that we can think of that you can divide these two numbers by? No. So that will be your final answer. Here's another example. 6 divided by 42. Again, your first instinct should be, do I have even numbers? In this case, yes. So whenever you have even numbers, just go ahead and divide both of them by 2. 6 is even and 42 is even. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 42 divided by 2 is, even if you didn't know what 42 divided by 2 is, go on the side and do it. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. Bring down the 2. 2 goes into 2 once. So 42 divided by 2 is 21. Again, if you remember your multiplication table, you will know that 3 times 7 is 21. That 3 goes into 21 7 times. Or even, you didn't know, go to the divisibility rule in section 1.7 and try to find how do we know that a number is divisible by 3. Obviously, 3 goes into 3. Any number can go into itself. But 21 here, the rule was to add the digits. So if you have 21 and you want to know if it's divisible by 3, you add the digits. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Now since 3, your sum, the sum here, since 2 plus 1 gives you the sum is divisible by 3. I guarantee you that the number itself is divisible by 3. So that means you can divide it by 3. Again, we're going to divide the top number and the bottom number here by the same number. So 3 divided by 3 gives you 1. 21 divided by 3 gives you 7. Here's another example. Let's say that you have 8 over 9 and they want you to reduce it. Unfortunately, in this case, we cannot reduce it. Look at 8. Even though I can divide 8 by 2, since it's even, I cannot do the same with 9. 2 doesn't go into 9 evenly. So forget about 2, because the two numbers have to be the same. Whatever number you use for the top, you have to use the same number for the bottom. Here's a common mistake. Do not try to divide this by 2 and try to divide this guy by 3. The numbers have to be the same. This is not good. You need to find a common number that can divide these two numbers evenly. So in this case, 8 over 9, there's no number I can think of that can divide 8 evenly and 9 evenly as well. So your final answer will be 8 over 9. So here's one last example. Let's say that you have 30 over 12. Again, 30 is an even number and 12 is an even number. So what can we do? We can go ahead and divide it by 2 whenever it's even. So 30 divided by 2, if you go on the side, you can go ahead and divide it, or you can take half of 30. So if you have $30, you divide it evenly into 2, you have 15. Now, 12 divided by 2, that means cut it in half, you would have 6. Now again, if you remember your multiplication tables, you'll know that 3 times 2 gives you 6, and 3 times 5 gives you 15. All it means is that 3 goes into 6 twice, and 3 goes into 15 as well, 5 times. So that means 3 is the common number that I can divide these two by. So I can divide this by 3, and I can divide this by 3. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So look at this. This was the original problem, 30 over 2. You have a big number here, 30, and a big number here, 12. Look at the final answer. Well, this is not really the final answer, but look at this answer. The number is getting smaller and smaller. So that's the reason why they're calling it reducing. So they want you to reduce. It becomes smaller. So again, remember, most problems, if you end up with an improper fraction, so remember improper fraction, what it means, it's when the top number is larger than the bottom number, you need to write your final answer as a mixed number. Again, remember mixed number. The way, if you have 5 over 2 and you want to change it into mixed number, I over O, that means you're going to divide. I stands for inside, so the 5 goes inside, and O stands for outside, the 2 goes on the outside. So 2 goes into 5 twice. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 take away 4 is 1. So how do you write 5 over 2 as a mixed number? So your final answer will be what? This 2 here is the one that goes all the way in front. Your remainder here always goes all the way in the back. And your denominator stays the same. So that's your final answer. 2 half. Now, thanks for watching and make sure you practice. Bye.